Hey, it's Empress Rose, and welcome to our collective reading. We are going to start with the Work Your Light deck, Oracle deck. That one's an odd one. I feel like we've gotten this one pretty recently, even though I switch up these Oracle decks frequently. All right, that's the only one that wants to say anything. This has shown up a lot in different ways in my life recently. The Age of Light, you've been training for this for lifetimes. So, yeah, there's something that you've been working towards. I feel like it might be here, it might be close to being here, but it's something you've been working for a while. You know what you're doing. You have a level of expertise here. Yeah, Age of Light, you've been training for this for lifetimes. It feels like a sense of destiny, a sense of receiving something. Again, we have the pyramid with a very solid foundation. That's what it was. It was one just very recently. It was this card. A very solid foundation. And you've created patterns of behavior. You've created patterns. There are ripples. There's a sense of vibration. I think maybe your vibration is on point here. You have maybe been working on how you feel, what kind of energy you project. And you're definitely radiating your own energy at this point. It's taken a long time. It's taken a lot of work, a lot of understanding. And yeah, and it's you though. It's your unique vibration. Everything has this vibration. Everything has a pattern, an energy signature, and this is yours. It's very unique to you. And there's some way in which it's meshing with some gears in life. So, right, I know people like this where sometimes the gears are just not clicking, they're just not together, they're very oppositional, or they can't cooperate at all. And then sometimes they come together and their vibes are so in sync that they're like this, and the machinery just works so beautifully because the teeth on those gears are just working perfectly together like a clock. And that's what I'm seeing here, is something that falls into sync for you. And you're not necessarily, you've already done a lot of work towards this. And yeah, maybe you need to do a few other things or figure some things out, but you've done a lot of work towards this already, and you're already in the right vibe, so that some other situation can come and sort of mesh with you just perfectly, like puzzle pieces. So the Age of Light, you've been training for this for lifetimes, it says. I'm just gonna say like for a while. Actually, and then this is interesting. I wanted to pull this deck first, but forgot. We're gonna see what goddess is with us. No, I want to ask, which goddess is the energy of the situation, our coming week, and which goddess do we need to aspire to or request or focus on for our greatest good. Okay, so we're gonna do who's with us, what well, we got yes. Yes is with us right now. Confirmation, revelation. Actually, this is a very complicated situation, but it reveals. It reveals. There's a revealing situation. It's yes and no. It's good and bad. It's pros and cons. There's some sort of information, partial revelation. Yeah, it's understanding. It's not saying whether it's yes or no or good or bad. It's just a more complete understanding of the whole. All right. Well, no, but what goddess is part of this situation right now? Rhiannon. The mystery, it's like, I'm not gonna tell you. The mystery. Okay, well, Rhiannon. All right. So it's like this circuitous path to getting somewhere. It's all going to work out in the end, but there are going to be some ups and downs. It's like a novel. It's like reading a novel or watching a movie. There's ups and downs, and we end up in the right place in the end. But there's a lot of plot twists along the way. So Rhiannon, the goddess of plot twists, is with us right now. And the mystery always reminds me to trust a little bit. Trust in the plot twists. Trust in the unknown and the unexpected. Trust that you get where you need to go eventually. But it's a little bit of a bumpy ride, or you don't know how you're going to get there, but you're going to get there. You're going to get there. And then what goddess can we sort of pray to, or whose attributes we want to focus on? Kuan Yin. My woman, my girl. Kuan Yin with her dragon. I saw it called a dragon horse yesterday, and that was pretty cool. So compassion, being compassionate towards all. So I want to say staying out of judgment, not judging people, and certainly not judging people quickly. This energy is really beautiful when you tap into it, when you understand that, you know, someone's acting a little quirky or a little strange, and a lot of people might just jump on a bandwagon of like, oh, she's weird, we don't like her. I just watched this happen actually. And then there's this other energy you can go like, okay, she's coming off as quirky. Maybe there's something going on in her life that we don't know about that's causing like a different vibe, a different vibration, some different energy. So there's having compassion. You know, people may not be behaving the way you expect them to behave. And instead of judging, which is important, it's important to be using our good judgment. But this is saying that perhaps in a situation, it might be more appropriate to compassionately, curiously, and empathetically try to understand someone, try to understand, or at least give space for whatever they might be going through that you don't know anything about. So having compassion, obviously that must be paired with judgment, an ability to defend oneself, but that's not what we're talking about right now. If you come out in the reverse, that's what we're talking about. So you're being asked to have some compassion, some understanding. Oh, that's interesting. I was just reading about Kuan Yin's dragon horse, which is her strength, her protector. And we also have Rhiannon on a horse as well. So yeah, there's a sense of like being through the mystery and the compassion, being protected. Oh my gosh, but they're reversed colors. Okay, it's just kind of cool. Like she's wearing white, she's on a white horse. She's wearing green, she's on a green dragon. There's just this yin yang energy going on here. So maybe a little, and then I put them down reverse, and we're going to leave it like that because there's this wheel that's turning and keeps things going. This feels like a water wheel right now that just keeps things moving, with the ups and the downs is what keeps things sort of moving. So having compassion for yourself too seems really important as well here. Not being judgmental. I mean, using good judgment, not being judgmental. Because there's something mysterious, something that you don't understand going on here. So it would behoove you to focus on compassion. All right. Oh my gosh. Grief and caching. It's interesting. Seems like this grief has been cached. It's a delayed grief, maybe a delayed response, but it seems like it's part of this moon energy here in the darkness, in the night. This moon seed. Yeah, so caching, saving something for later. It is hiding. I want to talk about compartmentalizing, because sometimes we have to sort of compartmentalize our emotions because they're not right here, right now, not the right place or time, vulnerable place, vulnerable time. But saving something for, so then we have to like sort of take our emotions and hopefully save them for later, and then hopefully take them out later, unpack them once we're someplace safe or with people we trust, or alone, but save something for later. And then there's this grief. Did you save some grief for later? Hidden. It could be hidden grief with the mystery and the compassion needed for an unknown situation. There could be hidden grief here. This reminds me of the circle of grief. So we have, you know, the loss at the center here. We have the people most closely associated with the loss in the center, focused on that loss. Then we have their support people focused on them, supporting them. They may not be having the same level of grief that they are, but they still have this, they're still part of the process. They're an intimate part of this experience. And then in the background, we have other crows, the extended family or community, and they're supporting those. So it's this circle. So that we have the people at the very center of the grief process. They're needing to be supported. So, and then the circle around them supports them. Whatever they needs they have, they take to their people that are further from the grief center. So we're not taking our grief to people that are grieving harder than us. We're taking our grief to a larger community outside. So we're moving our needs this way and our support inward this way towards people closer to the center. So that comes in pretty heavy for me. My family's had a very shocking and terrible loss in the past month, and it's been time consuming and difficult and intense. So yeah, this grief. And then here, there may be some save for later. Maybe, you know, the situation needed triage mode. So we take what we need now, we deal with what we need now, and then there's going to be more coming up later, because it's not like this ever goes away. There's more later. So there's something here. There's something about storage. It could be a storage unit. It could be storage. It's storage, it's savings. It's something that's going to be there for you when you need it, even if you don't need it right now. You might not be accessing everything you need. Yeah, there's just something about needs in a grief process here. And things not being expressed or even seen on purpose. It's like someone's hiding something about this grief process or the grief. Yeah, someone could very well be hiding a grief or a sorrow. Yeah, there's confusion around it too, about what something's very unclear. Yeah, when something's unclear, I guess there's a thing for compassion, a moment for compassion here. I'm just seeing the clouds in all of these, like we have like cross deck cloud situations. So here it's very cloudy. There's a lot of fog. Here there's a little bit less. We're seeing less, but there's still, I think grief has this like clouding, like a lack of clarity can come in with your thinking, with your thoughts, especially the raw processing of grief seems to be just like, oh, I think this, no, I don't think that, what is going on here? So there's like some more clarity here, and then we also have Kuan Yin in with these clouds. I think the clouds are really talking about hidden aspects, and the caching is talking about storage or hidden aspects, something that's not out in the open. For me, things are often out of sight, out of mind. I will totally forget I have things, so like My kitchen table is a bit of a mess because they're all the things I'm terrified of like putting out of sight. So, all right, so let's see. We're gonna cut this deck. I'm using the apparition deck. It's a really interesting, strange deck, but it's what really jumped out at me from my drawer today. So we have the High Priestess energy at the bottom. That's definitely here with our High Priestess Kuan Yin, with the mystery, with things. It's this card. It's really this, right? It's the known and the unknown. It's half known, half unknown. There's so much here with the mystery card and the caching card. There's so much here that's unknown. Of course, this is why we're going to tarot. So hopefully we get some more known stuff. But there's something, you may have an intuition about something as well that's probably fairly accurate. Reaching into that dark, trying to see in the dark, which is what our moon is doing here. Trying to see through these clouds and this confusion and the dark. And there's a sense of trying to understand yourself better, trying to understand your emotions better, trying to understand your psyche better. But there's just also this like what can be seen and what cannot be seen, and this reaching into what is not illuminated, what is in the dark, what is not seen. And I don't necessarily think this shows you reaching through sort of a portal into another realm for information or trying to understand something, trying to intuit something. We've got all this Pisces energy here with this High Priestess sort of reaching into this unknown. Again, look at how much repetition there are. We have this hand here reaching out, but there could be something about a hand as well. So reaching into this darkness, trying to understand something that's not obvious. Everything else is so obvious. And then there's this whole hidden, buried, caching could also be burying, buried grief or buried something that's just not well understood. You may be getting really intuitive vibes off of it. This could have to do with spirituality, your spiritual practices, your intuition. It's really interesting as an underlying for the whole reading is something about maybe someone you know who's very spiritual, High Priestess energy, can kind of sense and feel things that aren't really on the surface. Okay, past, present, inner landscape, what's the issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. That's interesting. I got an accidental reversal. I double checked before I started reading, pulling these cards that my deck wasn't upside down. It was not. There's just a reversal in there, which is very interesting. Okay, we have in the recent past 8 of Cups. This won't do. This is not working. This isn't enough. This isn't what I want. I want more. There's more to the story, more to your emotions. Again, we have these sort of cups, and this caching reminds me of cups. This, I guess, these emotional, this would be 6 of Cups. Maybe memories and memories. That's what it is. It's memories that might be coming up or maybe are stored in deep storage. Anyway, so there's these cups. They're holding something, some seeds, something precious. There's some light in the dark and some dark in the light. And so again, we have this like night, and she's looking into this totally unknown situation, this absolute unknown. And she's looking there for her answers because this isn't enough. This has been very unsatisfying. They're poured out. They're not satisfying. Maybe she's just looking for more to add to her collection. But in this particular deck, it really looks like someone who's leaving civilization behind, who's leaving a whole life behind, or maybe not a whole life. That's really big. Do we have the cards here to, oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Okay, do we have the cards here to support really big energies like that? I don't know. It'll be unique for each of you. But there's looking into the unknown, because the known isn't satisfying. The known isn't where you want to be anymore. The known doesn't have anything for you anymore. This is looking at the path less taken, looking at an unknown, unexplored world. And maybe what you want is in that abyss, is in that world. But you're not happy with your path so far. You know, each of these were things you wanted. Everything you've got, you wanted at some point, but now you want something else. Now you're ready for the next thing, or you were at some point, because just what you had acquired in some area of your life wasn't quite what you wanted. That wasn't quite it. So yeah, and here you're standing in front of this abyss, and here you're reaching into it, trying to understand it. So what's your current situation is Queen of Wands reversed. So that could be someone who's a little bit manipulative, very manipulative. Someone who is intuitive, though, could be somebody who's lost, sitting next to this Eight of Cups. It could be someone who's just lost joy, lost desire. They're not inspired anymore. It could be someone whose intuition is out of whack, or who is a fraudulent intuitive. It's a joke that they exist, but it's also true that they exist, right? It's like a common joke because it's true. It's easy to sound like an expert when no one can check your work, right? You can't just walk into, say, some people do, but you can't just walk into, say, like a nursing facility and just wing it, and nobody checks your work. Nobody knows you don't have any degree. You've never been to school. You don't know anything about anything. You don't even know what milliliters are. Like, you can't do that, but you can do that with the spiritual community. You can come into the spiritual community, sound like you know what you're talking about, sound authoritative, and no one can check your work because it's spiritual. So we don't know. So, and that's interesting, because this Age of Light, I was trying really hard to avoid sort of cliche discussions about vibration that I personally don't understand. So I was trying to really reach for, what part of the vibration do I understand? Do I have personal experience with? What part of that matching frequency, matching vibration do I actually understand? And avoiding just repeating things I've heard but don't necessarily have direct experience with. Personally, I'm an experientialist. If I have experience with it, like with these tarot cards, I have a lot of really powerful experiences with them that just reinforce the validity of it to me. But I wouldn't ask someone who's never had a revelatory experience with tarot cards to believe my thing. So anyway, long talk about Queen of Wands reverse. Could be fraudulent, could be someone who's depressed, right? Because the wands are energy, vibration. They're out of vibe. They might be very depressed or very anxious. Their vibration's off. Something's very off about this person. And that's a little bit about what we were talking about with Kuan Yin. Something seems off about somebody. It's a person, could be you just, you're not feeling right. You're not attuned with yourself. You're out of your own vibe. You're out of your own well-being. You're not feeling it. So yeah, Queen of Wands, someone who's not feeling it, or someone who's not been inspired in a long time, an artist who has not been inspired to get to work, an artist who's had nothing to work on. There's some sort of plug on intuition. It's been dampened, it's been cloached. Intuition, creativity, all of that. For somebody, it's a person. They might be in grief. That right? I think the Queen of Wands in reverse could be someone in grief, actually. Some kind of grief. In your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, the Hierophant. This is I feel like it's wanting someone to tell you what to do. Wanting structure, wanting or fearing structure. The Hierophant is works within institutions. So the Hierophant is typically related with institutions, history, reading and writing. Here I have the High Priestess and the Hierophant here. So this is sort of in your mind, something you're thinking about. Something you're thinking about. So it's a lot more structured than this typically. But this is sort of a match set. This is the external structure that supports this internal spiritual life. So sometimes people are reaching, they want their intuition, they want connection to divine. The way, the structure that we have to do that is church, an organization, something like that. So you might be thinking of founding an organization, or wanting to turn to an organization for help, or turning to a teacher, but it's usually a teacher that's part of a organization, that's part of something. So something larger, you know, with structure. And this always looks like some sort of history, you know, like institutional memory, institutional history written down, accomplishments written down, some sort of passing familiarity with esoteric ideas or the past. But what's interesting is it's coming next to this Queen of Wands, and I can really see the Queen of Wands as someone who doesn't want to work alone anymore, but maybe is looking for an organization to found or an organization to join, some sort of structure. Because when you work alone a lot, some people are really happy with that, and some people burn out with that, working alone. And so this looks like burnout, actually. And maybe if this is psychological, someone may be thinking about, you know, voluntarily committing themselves, or you may be thinking about committing somebody to an institution or something like that. That may be a step that might need to be done. But so it's this institution, and there's somebody out of sorts, either you or in your environment, and then there's like a structured institution. So it's showing up in your hopes or fears. So you might be worried about that, or you might be wanting that and thinking that that might be a solution to you or whoever else is very out of sorts, is very not functioning well. And again, I want to just the mystery. Okay, so there's something that turns out, there's something that's turning out okay in the end, but it's just going through a lot of different channels, and one of those channels might be some sort of institution. This could also be an artist, this Queen of Wands reverse, an artist that just doesn't want to work alone anymore and would like to join a collective, or maybe even like to work for a company or something like that. They're just not feeling it. They're working alone. They're not really feeling it. They may be looking towards some sort of supportive environment. Oh, wow. Okay, and then we have Page of Pentacles in the reverse. So, yeah, it's got like real child vibes. The page is the child, the beginner, the pentacles. So it could be someone who's new at a job, somebody who's just started something but didn't show up, or doesn't stay for a very long time. It's a person, again, our second person here, and they are in reverse. And so it's a person, it could be, as in our case, in my case, a young person who's been lost, a young person who, yeah, it could be, so that's what I'm thinking of, but it just generally, more generally, it could be just, oh, also one time I got this card and it was grandma. It was like, it was reversed, and it was like, it's not the child, it's the grandparent. It's not a page, it's somebody on the other spectrum. So it could be someone who's old. Again, it seems like a very real person. There's a clownish aspect, but they could be overly serious also. It could be someone who's very serious, maybe a very serious child, a very serious new coworker. There's someone who's just either not in a childlike energy, not in a newbie exploration energy, not having fun. Again, what is this, like mother and child? Neither one of them are having a good time right now. It could be a child that's out of sorts, or no longer a child. Could be a grown-up. I'm thinking logically, but about all the ways that Page of Pentacles in reverse. A new employee, but not getting a job, not having, and maybe you want to go work for a company or some company or an organization and you haven't. It could be because of a child in your life. It could be it's just not real yet, or not, it could be not real yet. Or not here yet. Maybe you're waiting for a child and they haven't arrived. Or they're just out of sorts. They're just, something's disjointed about a new employee or a child. Okay, and then we have 10 of Pentacles in your environment. All right, that was an attempt to understand something that seemed very mysterious. And it's interesting because it's on the other side of this High Priestess. So it just was like kind of the part where I just was the furthest from the High Priestess, the furthest out there, the most difficult to understand. 10 of Pentacles in your environment. There's a party, a retirement party, a gathering. It's people. It's interesting. It's where, yeah, it's a cityscape that's been left behind. But there it is. There's like a party and you're like Bjork going, there's got to be more to life than this. You step out of the party and the party fades into the background. And then you're like, there's got to be more to life than this. But in your environment, there's some sort of gathering. The work is done. The work is over. There's rewards. There's community. There's a completion process of like the work is done. The work is complete and we can now celebrate something. It often feels like a retirement party, but you've like, it almost looks like you're leaving the party, or somebody leaves the party to go have some alone time, or because they're just not finding it satisfying. This like completion energy doesn't feel right. But there it is nonetheless. It's the gathering after the work is done, the harvest festival, the fair, the completion of something. And the completion of a job. Some work is done now. This is over now. And there's sort of like the final gathering about it. Your to-do list is the chariot. Drive, go somewhere, move energy, coordinate. Maybe you need to coordinate something. Could be coordinating care for somebody. I don't know. This 10 of Pentacles is like, maybe you do need to go to a party and it could be at some distance, or a gathering at some distance. It has to do with cars. It has to do with movement. It has to do with travel. Go, travel. Go to the place you want to go to. Where are you going? Maybe you're worried about work. Maybe you were worried that you can't take time off work, or you're worried about something going on at work. But if there's someone in your life that is very concerning to you, you need to go take care of that, or to go take care of them. There's something about some sort of gathering though. So maybe you're going to the gathering, going to a reunion. Maybe it's a class reunion. Maybe it's a some kind of gathering is happening, and this chariot is saying get everything together and go to this. Chariot could be car, could be travel, could be coordination. It's got strong coordination vibes of let's get this all moving in sync in the same direction. But it's energetic. It's a very wandsy energy as far as like it's energetic. We're energetically moving something forward. We're energetically getting everybody on board in the same direction. We're herding the cats to go in the same direction for a period of time. So it's getting everybody together, getting everybody on board, creating the energy, maybe some very different, varying people or varying situations, varying energy. Again, it's working with energy and frequency, which we have here. And we have the horse here. Yeah. And so Rhiannon also talks about a journey that's just sort of a lot of random different things happen. So it's almost like you need two horses on this journey. You need two horses. And maybe it's a journey of three people, but there's this mystery and this energy and this energetic work that you're doing and bringing people together. Yeah, maybe you're planning the party. You're bringing people together. Or you're at least participating in it. You're at least going and moving towards it. And it's getting this electric energy, this various electric energy to all kind of coordinate and move together in one direction for a period of time. So several horses showing up here, direction, heading in a certain direction, going somewhere. Six of Wands. Ah, love this card. We have applause. We have you win, everybody wins. And it's reminding me of this, the ripple effect, which I wanted to talk about here, but I was like, oh, you're getting distracted. The Six of Wands has come into me as something with quite a strong ripple effect. You win, your energy, your vibe, you get something that you want, you achieve something. The people around you get your happy vibe. And then they go do other things, and then they take that happy vibe. So it's this ripple effect of your victory, somebody's victory, somebody wins something. And there's this energetic ripple effect. There's so much energy here, especially with the chariot, but this is going to be successful. You're going to coordinate people, you're going to get people together, and it's going to be very successful. And you're going to radiate great energy. I like these candles here too, because they're telling me about that candle in the dark, which is, you know, pretty present here as far as like the light in the dark, the candle in the dark, the dispelling of the darkness, the coordinating the energy and bringing it into the world. And there might be somebody that doesn't show up, that you would wanted to show up, and that it's kind of depressing you that they're not there. Yeah, and the grief, maybe it's not that whole big grief. That's where my mind's going to right now, but maybe it's just a loss. There's been a loss. And there's like someplace you need to go. And it's going to be good, and your energy is going to be good. And this chariot too talks a lot to me about that energy, that pushing out that energy, or just your energy radiating into the world, and maybe energy of compassion and kindness and forgiveness, just radiating out and changing the environment for other people around you. Other people are going to be really happy when you get what you want. Okay, so we're going to do one last little card here. Auspicious omens. What do you have for us? Hard. I tried to clear my energy, you know, before coming in here, but sometimes too, you know, my own stories overlap with yours somehow, or it's interesting discernment to figure out, you know, what's just mine and what's ours and what's yours. All right, anything? We're gonna get one. It's thinking. That's what, when the cards take so long, it's like really wants to be very precise. It has a very specific card it wants to give us for a very specific reason. It's not just going to spit out any old janky card on top, on bottom. So we are taking some time here. Okay, anything? All right, I'm going to cut the deck then. Medicine Buddha. Align with the Medicine Buddha for clearing karma and disease. So basically take care of yourself physically and spiritually. That healing blue aura there. And there seems to be some wand energy with these flames on the top and flames in the hand. It's reminding me of this. I wonder why, because there's a flame at the top here and a flame right there. Taking care of your own energy and your own heart. Maybe you need to do some heart healing medicine. Clearing karma and disease. Really it's about really taking care of yourself and your body. and your heart in particular, your soul, taking care of your soul right now. And you know what? It benefits everybody. All right, I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me here, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week. My schedule's a little very wonky right now, so well, I'm gonna do these. I'm committed to doing them, and I'll do them when I can. Ciao.